What we're going to make is a blanquette of lamb. This is shoulder, it's been boned, trimmed of any excess fat and sinew, diced, and we're going to go through the same process as the Irish stew, which is to blanch in water to remove any excess impurities or scum out of the cooking liquor, refreshed, washed, back into a cooking medium, which will be water again, and then return to the stove to cook. So in a shallow pan, top up with cold water. Cold water is essential, not hot water, has to be cold. Remove, wash, return to the stove. As you can see now, the water has come to the boil, the scum has come to the top. Now it's time to wash it in cold water, then add the stock and then the vegetables. And what we're adding now is some stock to cover the lamb, a bouquet garni, whole studded onion with clove, and then some just chopped carrots. And we'll bring that to a simmer. Now I'm going to lightly season this with some salt. Not too much, because that salt or seasoning can be corrected at the end. So ease on the side of caution when seasoning before a long, prolonged cooking period. Okay, what I'm preparing now is a blonde roux. This is the thickening agent for the blanquette. Now what we're looking for is a sandy colour and texture of the cooked flour and butter. This will take 2 or 3 minutes on a moderate heat. But it's essential that you keep stirring, otherwise the flour will singe and burn. Okay, that's pretty much there now. And as you can see, nice sandy texture, almost biscuity, with golden colour. This is the blanquette of lamb. This has been now cooking for about 1.5 hours towards 2 hours. The meat isn't quite there yet, but what we need to do now is pass off, same as the navran, into a colander, take the stock away, and use the blonde roux we cooked earlier. Nice clean pan. And leave that to drain just on the side. Then taking the blonde roux and slowly adding the stock. Now this roux has already been cooked out. Stirring continuously to prevent lumps. As you can see now, it's starting to thicken. Give the first couple of additions of stock a good vigorous stir. And before you add the next batch of stock, ensure that there are no lumps in the roux. As you can see, very, very smooth. Again, small addition of stock. Just a little tip, you can pull the pan just to the side of the stove to prevent that hot central heat from the solid top. This will allow you to work in the stock, create a good emulsion with the roux, and then bring to the boil. As you can see now, that's thickening nicely. After each addition, ensure you bring it back to the boil. Just ease off. Now perhaps you can be a little bit more liberal with the stock. Bring it back to a sauce consistency. Again, it's very important to get all the sauce from the sides. final addition of stock. As you can see now, that's coming up to a reasonable consistency, but as it's a veloute, we will be finishing this with a cream liaison, which is egg yolks and cream. That'll slightly thicken the finished product, enrich it, but be mindful when you do add the liaison, it doesn't come back to the boil, as it will separate the egg yolks and create a split appearance to the finished sauce. Okay, we're just going to slightly bring that to the simmer now. Leave it on the corner. Now this is the opportunity now to remove the lamb from the cooking aromats. That lamb has now taken on all the flavour of the studded onion, the bay leaf and the bouquet garni. What we're looking for here now is a gentle simmer for about 20 minutes just to finish off the blanquette, and that's just before we add the liaison to serve. Okay, now we've been cooking for a further 20-25 minutes. The lamb is now beautifully tender. We're going to finish with a liaison. Now in the recipe you can either finish with creme fraiche, some cream or some yogurt, depending if you want a healthier option. But really, to enrich this dish, a liaison of egg yolks and cream, for me, is the best solution. Now, be mindful of not reboiling this blanquette, as the yolks will scramble. And as you can see now, slightly thicker, nicely rich sauce, smooth, silky, velvet finish. Now just to finish, some chopped parsley. I'm just going to check the seasoning. Needs no more seasoning? Perfect. Blanquette of Lamb.